Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by Consult Webs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the podcast for law firms that feels the same way you do, but with a few more curse words. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in legal marketing and law firm development. I am your host, Jake Sanders, and he is your host, Paul Julius. Paul, what clothing item would make you walk out on a date if someone wore it?
Are stilts clothing? I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty flexible, man. I mean, maybe some sort of, I'm not a big fan of like political t-shirts or garb, certain hats, I would say maybe.
Garb is a great word.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying. Keep your politics.
I think a sash, any kind of
Really?
sash. Yes. That had like badges or anything like that. I don't know if that would be necessary, but a sash seems... It's a bit much for me. I don't think I'd walk out, though. I would talk about the sash. It would be an opening.
So, like, if Miss America was your date and she showed up in the full costume with the sash,
typical.
you'd be like,
I wouldn't
just nope on out.
Well, or would she take the sash off when you're indoors, and only wear it when you're in traffic? Tell people what's on the show today.
Today, we're talking about branding and marketing and advertising for lawyers with an article from Consult Webs. And then we interview master legal marketer, amazing attorney, and author of Fireproof, 5-step model to take your law firm from unpredictable to wildly profitable, Mike Morse. And then we get real answers to real questions with 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The Hot Take Buffet today is brought to you from the home fires of Consult Webs.
I've heard of them.
Chef Content Officer Jake Sanders wrote this piece. It's entitled, Will Marketing and Advertising Cheapen My Law Firm? I wrote this, and I figured it was a good article to share in regards to Mike, because in Mike's interview, because there's something about his personality and the way he approaches marketing that is approachable. I don't know how to say it other than that. And I think he's gotten past this idea of legal advertising being cheap. And in the article, I can just kind of go through and highlight what it was. Is I looked at professional bar opinion surveys of lawyers asked about advertising, and all of them, thought, advertising, it negatively impacts the public's opinion of the profession, that
it was like the number one thing that affected the public's perception, wasn't
and
it?
it was TV specifically. Yeah. And so it was there's this real big animosity in the legal community against legal advertisers. And it's interesting because you see them as hammers or hawks or gorillas, or you fail to see that the trope of trusted and reliable and 65 years of legal experience, that's a trope in itself. So I think a lot of advertisers and legal marketers are wondering, I don't want to be the hammer. I don't want to be, this boring thing. What's in the middle? And I think Mike Morse is in the middle. Like he's right in between this schlock over here, because it is, but it gets attention. And it doesn't fall flat like the majority of legal marketers, which are just doing trusted, reliable. You can trust us. We're reliable. That doesn't stick out. It doesn't stick out. And so effective advertising needs to do 3 things. And that's what I highlight in here is you get noticed, you build memorability, and you drive action. That's it. And Mike does it. And I thought this was a good thing to share with you guys, because I know that lawyers are looking at advertising as it's just cheap, man. I'm not doing that brand stuff. I'm not a marketer. I like that you do that. I'm happy with what I have, which is like this cardboard website, this awful LinkedIn, thing, this automated social media presence, stock photos in your blogs, and you're happy with it. You're happy with your cardboard pants. But there's a different future for you. And it's outlined here, and you don't have to feel like it cheapens you, because I think that's the main barrier for a lot of businesses. I don't want to market it because I don't want to look cheap, or feel grubby, Anyway, that's the hot take. That's the article. That's what I believe. But Paul, you know about this. We've talked about this numerous times.
I do want to share one thing though, is that this isn't just opinion and survey interpretations and stuff like that. Jake, you did work you were the marketing director for a very successful law firm.
Sure.
In Denver. You did all kinds of marketing, very creative. As Mike mentions about some of the feedback he received from some of his ads, you did receive feedback from some of the ads that you created for that firm, where people contacted you and said, "Hey, I don't need a lawyer, but that was really good."
Right.
And I think, that really sticks out when you and Mike are doing stuff for law firms cheap. It doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of money. It doesn't mean that you're being somehow pandering or something like that.
Well, and as Mike says later, you don't have to get on top of a truck.
No, I mean, you can't. It's
you can.
A lot of it is just what is it? What is it? A lot of it is, what do you think your audience is going to respond to positively, and what's and usually that's reinforcing, the firm values and the firm culture and the firm's mission statement, and that stuff. If you're on point with it, it's not going to be cheap. You don't have to spend a ton of money to stand out.
Yeah,
but you do have to be thoughtful about what you're doing.
And thoughtful is only guided by a brand, a strong brand, that is able to, over time, Mike has been doing this for his law firm for numerous years.
What do you say, like 30 years or so?
Well, but he was saying he's just, taken it seriously in the last 10 or whatever, but, very focused in on a strategy that's built around a brand and building it up, creating awareness. And then that gets the phone to ring. So I encourage folks to check this article out, because it speaks to the idea of personal and professional frustrations that lawyers have with advertising lawyers, because I get it. It seems schlocky. You don't want to be these people. But the secret is standing out, being authentic, all of this stuff that Mike talks about in this interview coming up. So stay tuned to hear Mike. Click through, read the blog on ConsultWebs, and then we will be right back.
Let's go.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Since 1999, ConsultWebs has been helping law firms connect with clients on the web, connect digital marketing success with firm success, and connect their business goals to proven strategies that help them get the most out of their legal marketing. Go to consultwebs.com to learn more.
And now, a lawsome interview.
Mike Morse is the founder of Mike Morse Law Firm, the largest personal injury law firm in Michigan. Since its foundation in 1995, Mike Morse Law Firm has grown to 150 employees, served 25,000 clients, and collected more than $1 billion. A household name in Michigan and author of Fireproof, a 5-step model to take your law firm from unpredictable to wildly profitable, we captured Mike with our lawsome trap cameras in a forest. And now we're bringing him to you live. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, so happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the book, Fireproof, a 5-step model to take your law firm from unpredictable to wildly profitable. What led to that title, its creation? Who's it for? What are they taking away? Just give us the pitch and immerse us in your world.
Well, I've been a lawyer almost 30 years, And one thing that we all have in common are that we are all terrible business people. We are all running around trying to get clients. We're all trying to make a living. We're all trying to do a good job for our clients. But what happens is we all seem to get busy somehow, but there is zero focus on actually growing your business, on actually running a business, on learning what it takes. And that was me. For the first 12 years, I was that guy. And then I hooked up with a business consultant. I started learning what data meant. I started learning about what knowing your numbers meant, and hiring the right way and firing the right way and doing all these things that I do now for the last 13 years. And it's been remarkable, the growth. It's been remarkable, the stress going away. It's been remarkable that I have more time and I'm making more money. What? I mean, truly, that I know. Just saying it is weird to say out loud. I'm that is true though, and everybody who has been turned on to this process, and I have several law firms that I've worked with over the years, just for free, friends, and turning them on to certain things, they all thank me. And this works for non-lawyers. For those non-lawyers who stumble across your podcast, I just signed 150 books this morning for a guy who's giving them out to people who don't run law firms. Blow your head off. Right? That doesn't make any sense. So it's just business. It's really just business for lawyers who want to take control, who want some predictability in their lives, and who want to make more money but don't want to work 80 hours a week.
So here's just my quick question to go back. It seems like such hard work to get systems in place. It seems like such hard work to start measuring things. It seems like such hard work. But what you're saying is that it becomes easier and you actually open up this time. Can you talk about that barrier that you're overcoming? Because a lot of people are afraid it's going to take too much work to fix it. Let's just keep rolling.
If 100 lawyers listen to this podcast, my prediction is 98 will not take a step to better their lives, because they're all making decent livings, right? And lawyers are supposed to be running around like chickens with their heads cut off. But this is for the entrepreneurial lawyer, the lawyer who wants to better themselves, who likes learning, who likes business a little bit. It's not for the worker bee lawyer who just wants the next case. I've talked to lawyers, some of my best friends I've had lunches with for 10 years talking about all this great stuff that I'm doing. I mean, I went from a solo to 150 people in not very much time. I went from settling, $10 million worth of cases to $150 million cases in a short period of time because of the stuff that I'm talking about. And the lawyers know that, and yet they still don't take these steps. So it's not for everybody, because it is for everybody, but most lawyers aren't going to do it. And it's for those lawyers who are tired of what we call hitting the ceiling, can't break through the top. They just keep stopping, and they're going to stay in their little box. They're going to make their money. They're going to have their 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. They're going to have their cases, and they're going to work like crazy. They're not going to save up enough money. They're not going to be all that happy with their business. And that's most of them.
That's it.
Right. I mean, you've worked with lots and lots of lawyers. And so that's the traditional lawyer. This is for the lawyer who wants to take it to the next level, who wants to hire office managers or COOs or integrators, who want to have a scorecard, we call it a jumbotron, every single week, and look at it to know, I can't tell you how many lawyers, they call me. They say, Mike, I read your book. I say, great. They say, we're having problems with this, that, and the other thing. I said, great. And then I ask them 2 or 3 questions. How many cases have you signed up this week? How much revenue have you brought in this year? What's the average fee on your case? I have like 10 questions. They know none of them. And these are very basic questions that they should know. And so when they say, I don't know, this is a extreme candidate for Fireproof and in the model. And it's somebody once said it's like exacerbating their pain points. And like, it's so easy to do with lawyers. And it's not fun, but it's kind of fun because I know what they're going to say, right? And how many cases did you sign up in 2019? Like, they'll come to me and say, Michael, my intake's down. Okay, By what percentage? Well, I don't do that. Okay, well, how many did you sign up this week? I don't know. Well, how many last week? I don't know. What was your average for 2019? I don't know. What cases make you the most money? I don't know. What lawyer in your firm makes you the most money? I don't know. I mean, I could go on for, I could ask you
Well, and
questions.
can I just interject? How often? What's the percentage of lawyers that you talk to? That are in this same thing, not tracking costs.
100%. I haven't talked to a lawyer who came to me with a system in place yet. The lawyers who call me, even the successful lawyers, I'm now working with a few firms who 50, 60 people, a lot of money in revenue, who don't have any systems in place, who don't have a Jumbotron in place. So we're now stepping in to help them with the Jumbotron, because I have a guy in my office, John Knockhazel, who co-wrote the book with me, who's a genius and who can do this fairly easily. And every decision then becomes data driven. Every decision. You can't ask me a question that I can't then go say, let's go look at the data to make the decision. And so we make really smart decisions now. Through COVID, we're making great decisions. Through everything we do, it's data-driven decisions that lawyers don't do. 99.9% of lawyers out there have no clue what data means, don't have Jumbotrons, and make decisions. Literally, one of the examples I used to give was if my secretary 15 years ago would say, Michael, we need a new copy machine, or we need another lawyer. I say, well, do we have enough money in the bank to pay for that? Do we have, is that a thing that we can do? It wasn't thoughtful. It wasn't, I didn't look at my books. I didn't look at how many cases I was signing up. And when lawyers come to me and say, yeah, there's been a decline and I'm now signing up 4 cases a week. I said, well, what was your peak? I said, then they'll make up a number. Well, I used to sign up like 20. Well, when was that? Oh, I don't know. Well, how long has it been going down? I don't know. Well, what kind of cases do you want? Well, I don't know. It's you guys could do that with your clients, and I promise you, they don't know.
We know. Believe me, we've heard it a lot. It just feels like the phones aren't ringing as much.
Right.
And that's tough. And I try and be empathetic about it, but I'm really curious about this Jumbotron. There's a lot of data. I mean, Jake and I, looking at the marketing side of things, we deal with a lot of data. And one thing that we found, particularly in communicating some of these things, is it's really difficult to kind of split out, what's kind of ancillary, what's the most important. Like, so what is it when you're talking about this Jumbotron? Like, what's on there? What do you tell people? Okay, you need to know your cash flow. You need to know receivables, payables. Like, what's your data points that you need them to understand?
Yeah, and is it day-to-day stuff? Are you supposed to be looking at this thing day-to-day? Are you supposed to be looking at it week-to-week? Are you supposed to be looking at it, how do you look at the Jumbotron? Is it Jumbotron 24/7?
Really good question. Chapter 2 of Fireproof is our biggest chapter and lays out exactly what people need to gather, in our opinion. But we are a personal injury practice. So every practice might be a little different. But data is data. And finding those points, every firm's going to be a little bit different. And for your marketing firm, for what you guys do, the data is going to be different. But looking at the data is important. So I'll give you a very real world example of what I look at. And maybe this will help somebody. So I get snapshot reports daily. Every day at 5 o'clock, my intake department sends me a detail. We got 86 calls today. We signed up 12 new clients today. The 86 calls break up into these categories, and they list them out, and we referred out this many. These are the people who took the calls. This is the average amount of time they spent on the call. We're at an attribution problem that we could talk about later, but because we spend so much money on TV, billboards, digital, everybody says, and I listen to the calls personally. I'm the owner of this company, and I listen to the intake calls. I listen to 5 a day. It's a practice that I have, that a good digital marketing person actually begged me to do many years ago, and I do it. So, and I learn a ton. And for the lawyers out there who aren't listening to their new intake calls, do so. It's earth-shattering, because you want the people who are answering your phone calls to be like you, Mr. or Mrs. Lawyer. You want them to have your empathy. You spend tens of thousands to millions of dollars a year to make those phones ring. And when those people call, I don't care if it's a bullshit case and there's not a case. You want empathy, and you want somebody to say something empathetic. And I've had people in the past, somebody will say, I was a victim of malpractice and they cut off the wrong arm. And the next question is, what date did that happen? Not, oh my God, I am so sorry that happened to you. And even if it's a minor thing, I had a lady call yesterday, a chair broke, and her chair broke in a restaurant, and she didn't get to finish her meal. Well, ma'am, were there any other injuries? No, I just didn't get to finish my meal. So you get funny calls that aren't a case, but you say, oh my God, I'm sure that was frustrating, ma'am, but I'm sorry, that's not a case my firm can handle. Like, have some decency. These people are calling you because they're upset about something. But I've had people in the past who no longer work here, who couldn't pull that empathy. They talk to 500 people a week, and most of the calls aren't the best calls or don't have a case, but you still have to treat them with love and respect. But anyway, I ran off on a crazy tangent there. I look at calls at the end of the day. On Tuesday mornings, I look at my full Jumbotron. I spend an hour and a half with my executive team, call it a leadership team, my 7 department heads and me, sit down in a room. Now we're doing it virtually, and we go through our Jumbotron. We spend 10 minutes on it. That's it. From the Jumbotron, you see numbers because I'm comparing the last 5 weeks. So let's say I see that calls are down 5 weeks in a row. I say, okay, make it an issue. When we get to the issues of my meeting, we talk about, why are the calls going down? What are we doing different advertising? What's going on in the world right now that the calls might be down? Hey, nobody's driving anymore, so car accidents are down. Whatever it is, we talk about it. The Jumbotron identifies issues that you talk about. We call it in the book like a smoke detector, right? If you got a little candle that's burning on your kitchen table, you take a glass of water, you put it out. That's what a smoke detector is for. If you don't have a smoke detector, the whole house is going to be engulfed in an hour. So our Jumbotron is our smoke detector. It lets us know when there's problems. So the lawyer whose calls are going down for a year and a half, they should have looked at it. They should have known that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not a year and a half later, because guess what? I'm not a magician. I can't fix it in a year and a half. I need to fix it 2, 3, 4 years. It might be their digital marketing. It might be their Google My Business page sucks. It might be that they have 42 reviews and they're ranking it 2 stars. And I got to be honest with you, before I knew what GMB was, I had a very mediocre rating because I wasn't asking clients. I had great success, and I wasn't looking at that data. Now that I'm looking at that data, I now am a 4.6 with 1,200 reviews. Just because I measured it, just because it was on my Jumbotron. So that's a simple example. I'm trying to bring this into your world.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you talk about that all the time with your clients. And it's I have a digital scorecard. Okay. How many Facebook likes did I get this week? How many Twitter followers did I get this week? How many people watch my podcast this week? Is it up or down? How many subscribe to my YouTube channel? If you don't track it, if you don't look at it, if you don't measure it, it will never get done. And what are your goals for the year? And if you have goals, put it on the scorecard. So we have goals. I want to add, I don't even know the number, 20 new YouTube followers a week. And if it's not going up, why not? Do I need to run some Facebook ads? Do I need to run some Instagram ads? Whatever it is, you can talk about it. But if you're not measuring anything and you're running around doing your cases, nothing, you just stay flat forever until you decide what's going on. I'm not happy. I read a blog, or I did this. Oh, maybe I should look at my data. And then once you get looking at your data, you get addicted to data. Mm-hmm. And you can't live without your data. And that's where I'm at right now. It's all about data. I'm fully addicted. I probably need a 12-step program.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to send you off to some clinic. I think there's something about decency and data. The way you were pairing your intakes with data and also checking it for quality. It isn't just quantity. I think if you are addicted to data, you want a ton of it. You actually are trying to consolidate it and filter it out so you have what's useful. And I think, you're already beyond it.
Let me give you a quick analogy.
Yeah.
That helps me. And then you can cut me off or edit this out.
Oh, okay.
I envision it like this. if you're on a desert island and you're sitting there with a beautiful person next to you and you got your Mai Tais and you got pineapple and you're sitting on the beach and you never want to go home, and you have a determination on should you fly back to your law office or stay on this beach, and you're entitled to one piece of paper faxed to you a week. You got this old 1982 fax machine and you're entitled to one piece of paper a week, and you can have as much data on it as possible. What data do you want to know if your business is running well or not so well? And should you get on that private plane that's sitting on the airstrip to come back to Detroit or wherever the hell you live to come back? And so what can you cram on that piece of paper that you'll know, am I okay this week or am I not okay this week? That's my analogy. And I love it. And I think about it. Of course, my Jumbotron is now more than one page, but it started off as one page and it was very life altering and changing. And I hope that analogy helps somebody.
Here's a question. Rate of change. You were talking about, I don't do miracles. Can you speak really quickly to how long it takes to get marketing efforts rolling and just sort of expectations and timelines? Because you say have goals, have this and that. Other things that are missing are parameters for expectations and reality. Like digital marketing isn't this fly by night thing. It isn't going to happen overnight, or is it? Or, can you speak to just rate of change?
So that's something we didn't cover in the book. And it's a really good question that I've never been asked. So I've met with some lawyers before and after the book. And it really, I think it depends on your mindset, right? So if you guys probably have clients who say, my digital presence sucks, I want to go all in. And you guys say, okay, to go all in, it costs this much money and I need your energy and I need you to give me some content and I need you to do this, that, and the other thing. I mean, if you're all in, I think in the digital world as well as in what I do, and I think you're talking mostly marketing and advertising right now.
Right.
You can effectuate change pretty quickly if you have the right budget. If somebody came to me and said, Michael, I want to be like you, I want to be on TV, right? Well, writing a great campaign is going to take us 30, 60, 90 days. Once you start going on TV, after you're competing with the guys who've been on TV for 30 years, it's going to take some time. If you have a Cherry Garcia message over a vanilla bullshit regular lawyer campaign, you will cut through the noise quicker. But if you just put up one of those, hey, I'm on top of a truck like every other lawyer in every other state, or I'm the hammer, or I'm the this that every state is using, I don't think you're going to cut through quick. But if you have something, I mean, have you guys seen my TV commercials?
No, unfortunately not. But I'm so sad because I'm a fan of you. And he's just sharing your podcast, which is obviously based on a radio show or something. Does it look like that?
I was totally in. Once I saw you interviewed Rick Mahorn, I was like, this guy's for real.
Well, we did Chris Hansen. We got 1.5 million views on that one. I mean, we've done some fun interviews.
That's just
we're now focusing on Innocent Project stuff.
Cool.
But
nice.
The commercial we're running right now is me running around Detroit in a mask with the Lone Ranger music.
Nice.
I'm getting 20 emails a day from strangers saying, I don't need a lawyer. I hope I never do, but I've never seen a better TV commercial in my 82 years of life. I could send you 10 of those that I got in the last 24 hours. Mike Morse Law Firm under YouTube.com/Mike Morse Law Firm. There's a commercial thing. We're on the Super Bowl every year. We come up with a great commercial. And last year we did an ambulance chaser version we won 2 national awards, a 30-second spot and a 60-second spot. Guys, please check out the commercials. And call me and let me know what you think. But so if you make good commercials, so I've only been on TV 9 years. I am now, there's no real way to tell who's the leader in your market, but I'm pretty confident that I'm up there. Okay. And then we cut through the noise within a few years because of the spots. If you're just going to copy the guy in town and you're going to stand in front of a green screen or you're going to stand in front of some law books, it's going to take lots and lots of years and lots of money, and you probably won't make it. If you read chapter 4, Cherry Garcia versus Vanilla, and you do something different. I had a lawyer down south call me this week. He sent me 10 commercials that he was really proud of. And I said, I don't know who you are after listening to those commercials and watching those commercials. I don't know anything about you except you sound like the other 5 lawyers on the same DMA in your area. And he was not thrilled that I said that. He's not a client or anything like that, but I was honest. And you need to cut through the bullshit. You need to cut through the noise. You need to show who you are and how you're giving back to your community and how you're different. And I think you can have quicker expectations if you're willing to do that. If you're just going to hire one of these cookie cutter companies and run commercials and don't have a healthy budget, it's going to take a long time.
Next question. Why should you run your business like your biggest case? You were talking about lawyers just focusing on cases. They're really good at case stuff. You're advising them to run their business like that. Is my head spinning? Whoa.
That is an analogy we came up with because every lawyer, right? You're trying to break it down to these lawyers. Why are numbers important? Why should you run your law firm like a business? So every lawyer can if you're a divorce lawyer, you're going to get a case where somebody's going to pay you $25,000, $50,000. If you're a bankruptcy lawyer, it's a huge bankruptcy. If you're a personal injury lawyer, it's a $10 million case, whatever, fill in the blank. And when you get that big case, you have a plan and you have people in your office to work on it. And you have a meeting regularly and you discuss it and you think about it and you research it. But what's bigger than that? What's more important to you than that single case? Your law firm. So at least give your law firm and your employees the courtesy of treating it like you would your biggest case. And that just made sense to me. And I hope it resonates with the lawyers out there who are wondering if this is important, if this is an important journey to take, treating your law firm like a business. And again, well over 90% of the people don't do it. It's in vogue now. There's a lot of people trying to talk to to lawyers and market to lawyers and write blogs for lawyers and webinars, which is really good. I think we're unique because I'm a lawyer and I did it. A lot of the people who are standing up on these big stages with a lot of people in the audience are not lawyers. And so I think hopefully hearing my voice will encourage them to take that first step, read some good books, read some good blogs, listen to some good webinars and see if this is for them. I don't know why it wouldn't be unless they don't really care what they're doing or like what they're doing.
Well, so you're hitting on something interesting here because a lot of lawyers don't, they want the spotlight, but they don't want the scrutiny. They want the market share, but they don't want to deal with the glare of the headlights and the shame that comes with feeling a certain way or adopting a market personality. But then you get these people saying, you got to be authentic, got to be yourself. And then you got and then you have people getting disbarred because they were themselves on a listserv, and it's like, no, bro, not like that.
No, too far.
You're a little too authentic. So just speaking to branding, how would you just advise the Jane Doe lawyer on the street here? How should she find that authentic voice in her brand?
So we have an exercise that we list out in Cherry Garcia versus Vanilla chapter, which has been helpful for a lot of people. And what I did was I watched all my competitors' ads and I wrote down words like arrogant and bullies and mean and things like that. And they're all in the book and I can't remember them all right now. And then I wrote down me, and I'm not arrogant. I'm the opposite of arrogant. I'm approachable. I'm funny. I'm self-deprecating, etc. And the ads that you guys will get a kick out of, and they're not hard-hitting ads like call me. Now I have some of those ads, but they're getting to know me. They're getting to know my mom. They're getting to know my dog. They're getting to know my heart. They're getting to know my family. And I can't fake it. And if people do see me on the street, and they all come up to me and they say they love my commercials and where's your mom and I love your dog, and that's me. Now, not everybody can do that, and not everybody wants to be on TV.
Right.
I mean, every market has 4, 5, 6 people. That's not a ton. There's thousands of lawyers per market. So in the book, we talk about other ways to market yourself. But I think, and this is hard for you guys in the digital world because I haven't really figured this out. I'd love to hear your take on this. I do have a good persona on commercials, but it's hard to translate to digital. It's not the easiest thing unless they click on the video, unless they follow through. But, just look at it, a Google AdWord or whatever. I mean, even your GMB, it's hard to stand out. You guys are doing such a good job these days. A lot of the digital stuff is looking good, looking similar. One thing we did, I looked at all of my competitors and they're all at a 2.2 rating. And I was like, okay, that's something I can control. I can ask all my clients for a review. That was one simple, tiny little thing that I was actually able to control, and it worked. But, whatever you do marketing wise, authentic is a word. Yeah, I think it's overused.
Right.
But I think, how are you different than your competition? Why should they call you, not your competition? What are they missing out if they don't call you? Those types of things. And, we do lots of different things. And you brought up you brought out the, putting yourself out there, the man in the arena speech.
Right.
It's not for the weak of heart. I've had lots of negative said about me and written about me, but I don't give a shit because all of it's not true. And it's, when you're successful and you're kind of on, approaching the top, people want to knock you down. It's the oldest story in the book. They want to knock the king off. I'm not the king, but they want to knock the king off the wall. You've read those books.
Right.
And so if you don't have thick skin, you definitely don't want to do what I'm doing.
Well, what's so hard is that unfortunately it's part of the engaging, and you have to sort of think that that's a learning in itself. A lot of marketing is hard to, to translate yourself through, but what you get back from the feedback, from the boos or the jeers or the cheers, those are things that you can now collect data on, and you have more gears in place to figure out what authentic is. Do you know what I mean? And if you didn't get embarrassed, you wouldn't know how non-embarrassment feels. And I don't think lawyers just have that big case, and if they lose, it's just tank city. So, I think it's hard to say that lawyers in specific have a harder go of becoming this sort of bulletproof. You say you're fireproof, but I think there's also some bulletproof nature. You also have to be fireproof to have this brand, maybe.
So that's really smart. We're fireproof because we had a fire in 2008. My building literally burned down. So, but bulletproof, COVID proof, flood proof, it's all the same. We're trying to make it resilient. So when COVID hit, we didn't miss a beat, right? We were fireproof. When I was fired by the guy who was sending me 70% of my cases, we didn't miss a beat. We looked at our data. We went on TV a month later, and we've been fine. Stuff happens. Partners leave. Partners die. Big cases lose. And if you're organized and you have a team in place and you have processes in place, you don't panic. If a bad article is written about you, but if you're solid with who you are, you're not going to panic. So these are my lessons. This book is personal. I spend lots of pages on this book about my life, about my dad dying when I was in law school, about lots of personal things, and how I reacted to that, and how what I've built here will serve this firm the rest of their life, my life. And I want to help other firms have this security, this peace of mind that, I can't tell you how many firms, I don't know how many firms of your guys that are struggling at COVID, but we didn't miss a beat because we were fireproof.
And it's about it, you know, so much of what you've talked about up until now is really about that, because if you didn't have all these different ways that you were relating to people, and reaching them in different mediums on TV, if you weren't so recognizable, you know, you wouldn't have that. So if you only had one, you know, if all you depended on was referrals, you know, and that person goes out of business, now you're in trouble. So I think there's a lot of setup work that goes into that. But I'm kind of curious particularly with regards to something our listeners could just do. I mean, you've given so much good advice. I mean, honestly, I could probably pick 3 things you've already said, but just to hear it from you, what's one thing our listeners could start doing like today that would help improve their law firms?
So, since we've talked about data so much, we just took on a client in San Diego who has very successful and has zero data, like zero, not tracking anything. Couldn't tell me how many cases he was working on, couldn't tell me how many cases he signed this week, nothing. Start tracking your stuff. Start tracking how many calls you're getting a day, a week, a month. Start tracking how many settlements you're getting a day, a week, a month. How many new clients are you getting? How many, I mean, just the basics. You know, I mean, I think there's a lot of good books and blogs. I mean, our book takes them through those steps. It's a 5-step easy system. And I think understanding that you have data, that, you know, whether you use QuickBooks or whatever management system you use, there's data in there. You need to find somebody who can mine that data, look at the trends, look at the predictions for your year. And that is a game changer. I would say that's my number 1 tip.
Mike, how can people learn more about you and find you anywhere, online,
Everywhere,
in the real world?
everywhere.
Tell people
Well,
where you're at.
hopefully it's not too hard to find me, right?
Right.
855mikewins.com is my main legal website. Fireproof on Amazon is my book. Open Mic is my podcast on YouTube and on all the channels that have podcasts. That's really, you know, we have an Instagram account, of course, a Google My Business page, but that's pretty much it.
5 questions we ask everyone.
Number 1, what was the last book you read?
All the Light I Cannot See. It's a World War II novel, and I'm blanking. Somebody Google that for me so I don't look stupid.
No.
No, it's all right. We'll put it in the notes.
It's a really good book.
Nice. Okay, number 2, what is your favorite place?
Hawaii.
Nice. All right, number 3, what sites, blogs, newsletters, or podcasts do you regularly check in with?
The Morning Brew, which is a New York Times offshoot. It's not done by the New York Times. That's my go-to every morning newsletter that I will say. There's a lot of peripheral ones, but that's my go-to.
Nice. All right. Toughest of the bunch here. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one condiment to take with you, what would it be?
I, without thinking too much into this, will say barbecue sauce.
Nice.
Well, so
All
wait,
right.
no, is this like Casey Masterpiece? Is this like a
What's that?
special? Is it a special
No.
barbecue sauce or?
No, but now I'm thinking, should I have said sriracha? I can't pronounce that word. Should I said hot sauce?
It's a toss-up. It's okay.
Yeah.
We could say 2.
Yeah, I'll say hot sauce and barbecue sauce. No particular. I don't have
They
a
go
favorite
together.
Okay,
Okay,
two.
last
All right.
one. After a long day or a long week at work, how do you relax and unwind?
Well, there's a PC answer and a non-PC answer. So I would say I get a nice stiff tequila, and I get on my boat and go on the lake with my kids and just enjoy nature and the sunset. And that's a day-to-day thing. I think if I had my choice to go somewhere and answer that question, I'd say I'm a big hiker and I love to hike. That's my number one thing that I do when I can.
For show notes, links, and info, go to thelawsonpodcast.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to leave us a review and rating in iTunes or wherever you find the you listen to. Until next week, stay lawson.